So last week I shared with you the news that the Catholic Diocese in New York beat Democrat Governor Andrew Cuomo in court. Cuomo was restricting and prohibiting the freedom of religion in New York, and the court agreed with the Diocese of New York that that was unconstitutional. Well, this week a court in California sided with a Catholic priest, gave him temporary relief from these draconian restrictions that the Democrat, of course, the Democrat governor of California put on the church in California. And I'll just read his ruling real quick. It's real short. The free exercise of religion clause in the California Constitution prohibits defendants from treating religious activities worse than comparable secular activities. California's current COVID-related restrictions do exactly that, ruled Judge Polskamp. So it basically gave the California diocese, or all the churches in California, temporary relief until there can be heard, full trial heard, so they can go on and have church. But I would argue the Constitution of the United States allows that. I mean, the First Amendment, our First Amendment, so I think that's like the most important amendment, says that the government shall not prohibit the free exercise of religion. And all these left-wing Democrats always try and prohibit our freedom of religion. Now, I don't have Facebook, but I go on my daughter's all the time just to see what's going on in the culture. And I see all these snarky liberals saying, well, the church, they're no better than the rest of us. The church should abide by these restrictions too. Well, first of all, these Democrat governors are treating the churches worse and putting greater restrictions, and that secular judge seen it himself. That's why he gave relief. But besides that, the Constitution says no. The government has no part. The government has no say in our freedom of religion. That's a bedrock of American values. So learn your Constitution before you allow this country to become a total socialist despot country. That's number one. Number two, these left-wingers, all these Democrats, these liberal elitist Democrat governors do the same thing as these elite dictators do in these Marxist country. They pick and choose, number one, who's going to suffer and who's not. Case in point, there was a restaurant owner crying on YouTube the other day. She showed her restaurant. All she had was outdoor seating, and signs says, it's safe to be outdoors. All the tables were 15 feet apart. All the staff was masked up, and Newsom fined her $10,000 a day for staying open. Crushed her. She's out of business. And she showed on the video, 10 feet away, they were shooting a movie. This is Hollywood. They're shooting a movie, and they got all like brunches and stuff set up for the cast and the crew, and they took a break, and you see hundreds of unmasked Hollywood elitists eating right next to where her business can't, and none of them are masked up, and none of them are social distancing. But you know what the difference is? They're Gavin Newsom's friends. The Hollywood elitists donate millions of dollars to this guy. This poor, hard-working restaurant owner, she don't have the money to donate to these people. And for those Democrats who say, well, these governors are just following the science, they don't believe the science themselves, because Gavin Newsom's been caught numerous times unmasked, eating dinner, not social distancing. And he always apologizes. Same thing with Cuomo, the apostate governor of New York. Same thing. Same thing with Nancy Pelosi. Said she supported these draconian lockdowns in California that locked down all these hairstylists. And you've seen the video, it's been shown a million times, where she's getting her hair done because she's one of the elites, the ruling class. She's getting her hair done unmasked by an unmasked hairstylist. So they don't believe the science, because they know the science that they're quoting is untrue, rather, because all the science shows that lockdowns make things worse. Now, in the beginning, the news were suppressing. There were hundreds and thousands of scientists and doctors saying lockdowns are a bad idea. And the mainstream media suppressed these guys. YouTube blocked it. If you put it up on YouTube, they would take it down within hours. Now, even the CDC and the World Health Organization are agreeing that lockdowns did more damage. So why are these people still locking down their cities and states like New York, California? Notice it's all Democrats. It's all left-wingers, because left-wingers like to have control over the people, the subjects. And Rahm Emanuel, when he was President Obama's chief of staff talking about the Great Recession, said Democrats will never let a crisis go to waste. We'll use this as a power grab. And this is his own words. You can Google this. We'll use this to impose more restrictions. And you see it every time there's a mass shooting. The first thing they do, instead of, grieving with the families, they politicize it. Within a half an hour, they're trying to do a gun grab. They're trying to infringe on our Second Amendment. These left-wingers hate our First Amendment just as much as they hate our Second Amendment, or vice versa. So they're not locking these states down. Thank God I live in a state of Florida where we have a conservative Republican governor who believes in the First and Second Amendment, so we're not locked down. But I feel bad for my friends in New Jersey, New York, Michigan, California, because these elitist, liberal, Marxist, socialist, Democrat, dictatorcrats, as I call them, governors are locking them down, destroying their livelihoods, destroying businesses, destroying families. While they're out and they get caught constantly, you see these people out eating and dining and partying, unmasked, not social distancing, because they know the science doesn't back up their lockdowns. But they are using the lockdowns because, in the words of many Democratic congressmen, there's too many to list, I was going to write them all down, but you can Google them. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they said, let's not let this crisis go to waste. Let's use it to advance our agenda. And what's their agenda? All these leftist programs, restrictions on churches, the New Green Deal, socialist programs. They want to reset the United States to make us a socialist country where the elitists have more power and more control to shut down our churches, to shut down our businesses. And thank God we have some good courts that have been ruling in our favor lately. We have some bad ones that have been ruling against us, but we still live in the greatest country in the world, and we need to remember what our founding father Ben Franklin said. Whoever is willing to give up liberty in order to gain safety and security deserves neither. Fight for your liberty. God bless America.